The wind was cruel that evening, cutting through the empty gas station like a knife through paper A. Small figure stood near pump number 3, a teenage girl, maybe 17, clutching the straps of a worn-out backpack. Her jacket was oversized, faded, and patched up in more places than one. The sleeves swallowed her hands. The zipper hung halfway broken, and the back had a patch, stitched unevenly by hand. When the roaring sound of motorcycle engines echoed across the lot, she froze. A dozen leather-clad bikers rolled in, their laughter deep and harsh, their chrome glinting under the flickering lights as they parked. One of them spotted her and snickered, nudging his friend soon. The laughter spread among them, bouncing off the metal and concrete. They were laughing at her jacket, at the old clumsy stitches, and the uneven patchwork that looked like it had been done by a child. But that laughter didn't last long, because when one of them got close enough to actually read the patch on her back, the grin drained from his face. The laughter faded one by one. The others grew quiet. What was once mockery turned into something heavy, respectful, almost sacred. Before we go further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of understanding people's stories before judging them, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Broken Smiles. Your support helps us bring more real, heart-touching stories to light. The girl's name was Emma, and her story wasn't something anyone could guess. By looking at her, she looked fragile, but she had carried more pain than most adults could handle. 2 years earlier, she had been in a car accident that took her father's life. A father who had been a firefighter, a man known for his bravery, his laugh, and his kindness. Emma had survived that crash, but she hadn't walked away whole. The doctors said her left leg might never fully recover. The physical pain was one thing, but the emotional wreckage went much deeper. Her mother, broken by grief, had fallen into depression, leaving Emma to navigate the silence of a house that used to be filled with laughter and music. That jacket, the one the bikers had laughed at, was the last thing her father had given her. It used to be his, a heavy black leather firefighter's jacket that smelled faintly of smoke and engine oil. She wore it everywhere, even when it didn't fit. The back of it had a patch she'd sewn herself, crooked, uneven, but full of meaning. The patch had her father's firefighter badge number, and the words, "For Dad, my hero." It wasn't fancy or professional, but to her, it was sacred. She didn't wear it for style. She wore it because it made her feel like he was still protecting her. That evening, Emma was walking home from her part-time job at a small diner on the edge of town. She'd been saving up every penny to fix her mom's old car so she didn't have to walk miles every night. The gas station was her usual stop for a bottle of water before the long walk home. When the bikers rolled in, she tried to stay invisible, keeping her head down, hoping they'd just pass by. But life, she thought bitterly, had a way of testing you. When you already felt broken. The bikers were from a group called the Iron Hawks, known around town for their loud engines and louder presence. They weren't bad men, but they had a reputation. Rough, intimidating, the kind of group that made people step aside on sidewalks. One of them, a tall man with a scar across his cheek, pointed at her jacket and laughed. "Hey, sweetheart," he called out, his voice echoing. "You planning on joining the club with that thing?" The others chuckled, teasing her about the worn-out patches, the uneven stitches. Emma bit her lip and turned away, pretending not to hear. But one of them, the youngest of the group, frowned. He stepped closer, eyes catching on the back of her jacket. He read the patch silently, then his expression changed. The laughter around him died. When he spoke quietly, almost in a whisper that carried across the sudden silence. "Guys," he said, "look at this." The others turned, and then, all at once, they understood. The patch wasn't random. It wasn't a joke. It was a memorial. One of the older bikers, the one with gray in his beard and a heavy sadness behind his eyes, stepped forward slowly. He reached out, almost hesitantly, and touched the patch. His hand trembled. "Badge number 317. He murmured. "That was Captain James Holloway, wasn't it?" Emma looked up sharply. "You knew my dad?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. The man nodded. "He pulled my brother out of a fire 10 years ago," he said quietly. "Saved his life. Your dad was a damn hero." The air between them shifted. The mocking energy was gone, replaced by something fragile and reverent. In that moment, the bikers weren't a gang of loud, careless men. They were soldiers of the road, bound by scars and stories. They understood loss, they understood brotherhood, and they understood respect. The gray-bearded man turned to his group and said, "We owe this man and we owe his daughter." Without another word, he took off his own leather vest, the one bearing the Iron Hawks insignia, and gently placed it over Emma's shoulders. "You wear this tonight," he said. "No one in this town will ever laugh at you again." Emma's eyes, filled with tears, the kind that come from deep places, not of sadness, but of being seen after years of feeling invisible. The men surrounded her, not in threat, but in silent protection. They offered to give her a ride home, and when she hesitated, the older man said softly, "Your dad once gave us hope. When we had none, let us return the favor." That night, as the roaring engines carried her home, Emma felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Warmth. She watched the lights of the town blur by, the wind rushing against her face for the first time since her father's death. She didn't feel alone. The bikers visited her mother the next day, helping fix the car, repairing the roof that leaked during storms, even repainting the porch that had faded. Under years of neglect, they didn't do it for praise or attention. They did it because kindness, they said, was a debt that should always be paid forward. Emma would often see their bikes parked outside the diner afterward, and every time she came out wearing her father's jacket, they'd nod. Respectfully, the laughter never came back. Only smiles of quiet recognition. Months passed, and Emma grew stronger. She finished school, repaired the car, and even started volunteering at the firehouse that once belonged to her father. She'd spend hours there after classes, learning first aid, cleaning equipment, doing whatever she could. The firefighters treated her like family. One of them told her, "You've got your dad's heart. Kid, don't ever lose." That years later, Emma became a firefighter herself, the youngest in her county, and the first woman to wear the same badge number her father once did. She kept that same jacket, patched and faded, and wore it proudly under her uniform. And sometimes, on quiet nights, she'd hear the familiar rumble of engines outside the firehouse. The Iron Hawks, stopping by to leave flowers by the memorial wall. They never forgot her father, and she never forgot that one night when laughter turned into silence, and silence turned into a bond that healed her heart. If this story touched your heart, if you believe in empathy, respect, and the unseen battles people fight every day, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Broken Smiles. Your support helps us tell stories that remind the world that kindness still exists.